Hello folks, well it's Peter Elgar again here. I'm going to talk about two of my latest treasures. These are the Olympus 4/3 digital cameras, and I was given both of these wonderful treasures. The latest one I was given was this one, which was an E-1 body. Now the E-1 came out in 2003 and this one, the E-500, came out 2005. So there's a bit of a difference between them, and I'll show you what I've found in my research and taking pictures. The E-1 is supposed to be a professional sort of quality body. Well, it is much heavier than the E-500, and it's only 5 megapixels, whereas the other one, the E-500, is 8 or 8.5? 8 megapixels. So there's a few more bits for resolution in the later one than there is in the so-called professional one. There's lots of interesting things on the E-1. Now, there's the body with a tiny little mirror, because the 4/3 is much smaller coverage on the lens than other types of digital cameras. It's got a smaller circle of coverage, but the sharpness is still good, but it does show, I found, the graininess or the noise when you put it up to 400 and 800. I've never put it up to 1600 yet, because 1600 I don't think it'd be very good, but I've used it at 400 and 800, and I've tried various things on it. Now, what are the differences? Well, I found with the E-1 things are a bit smaller. For example, the screen on the back is smaller than the screen on the back of the E-500. That's the E-500 and that's the E-1. The screen is smaller. Then there's some buttons on the back which are very similar. We'll look at the E-1 first, which is 2003. There's a very small LCD screen here where you can see various settings. So we switch it on. There it goes on. It does a dust clean thing. Then there's a very small LCD here, and you can see markings in it, but you can change your settings as you want, because there's some interesting buttons on it. And what I found, oh, the cap just fell off, so I mustn't put my fingers inside there. I take my glasses off so I can see what I'm doing. If you press this button here, you get the change from your JPEG quality settings. Now I've got it set to RAW at the moment, and I'll press that. Then you can get you can get JPEG. You can get various qualities of JPEG, HQ and SQ. There's a 250 odd page book which I've had a look at online and tried to inwardly digest it all. There's the setting also for your ISO, which is here, and you press that. That's set to 400 at the moment, and turn the little wheel, and you can set it from 100 to 1000. No, it goes to 3200. That's the maximum on this camera. I've never tried it at that. The only problem with this free one is I don't get a readout for the shutter speed and the apertures. The gent who gave it to me, I don't know whether he's broken it or there's a fault, but I use it on program and I use it on aperture priority with my other lenses. So here's how you change on this one your exposure modes. You press I just put my glasses down. You've got to press a little button here and then turn a little wheel to the exposure mode you want. So I put it to program now, P for program exposure. When the camera chooses an aperture and a shutter speed for you. It doesn't work with aperture priority with the Olympus digital lens on this camera body because I can't get an aperture readout. But it does work if I use my adapter. Here's the adapter which I've shown you in my previous video about adapters, and I can put Pentax screw lenses onto that, and it works then. I can use aperture priority. There's no sort of amateurish scene modes. You've only got 1, 2, 3, 4 only exposure modes with the E1 because it's supposed to be professional. Professionals are supposed to know what they're doing. So they don't have these scene modes and all these other exposure modes that you've got on the E-500. You can just turn that without any lock. You can have it on fully automatic, which is a big cheat. I've never used that. But you can also have it on these so-called scene modes like landscape, where it will set you a small aperture to get good depth of field. There's one here for a sport, people running. That was set a fast shutter speed. There's one for night scenes that is set a long shutter speed, but you can do all that manually yourself anyway. I never use these scene modes, but they are there for amateurs who are a bit on a beginner's side. And with the E1, you've got on the back some other buttons. Now that's the one, the green one is to show you what photograph you've taken. So let's see if I can bring anything up. It's, switch it on. It's on. It's not showing any. It's not showing any photo now. Oh, here we are. I switched it on. Yeah, there's a picture there. There's a picture of a guy. It's probably burned out. You can't see it, but it's in our supermarket. I've got to do him a print. That's the one to show what pictures you've taken. This is a protective cover. Look, I've taken it off. That's a protective cover that came with it. The E500 didn't have that. When you're going through choice of things here, like in your menus, you press this and a menu comes up, loads of different menus which you can go through, same as on the E500. When you've chosen what you want, you press OK and it does it for you. Then you've got to scroll down by pressing this lower button, and it takes you down to a lower part of the menu, and then you go across to whatever you want to do. But there's some quicker start ones here. There's white balance, for example. You don't have to go through a menu to do white balance. You press a button here with the E1, and you get a white balance screen come up at the back in there with a quick white balance one. There's one here which you press this and the shutter goes and it memorises the quality of the light coming through the lens. If you point it at something white, you can set a white balance yourself. The E500 doesn't have that quick one. Now there's on the E500 there's not quite so many quick buttons. You have to navigate the menus a bit more. But when you press info on here, be an idea to switch it on first. It does a dust clean. It's cleaning off. There's a menu at the back which comes up, and you can choose what you want to do on this screen. So you've got to choose, press ISO. Yeah, that's ISO automatic. And if you don't want ISO automatic ISO, you turn the wheel. It's difficult showing this. You turn the wheel and it goes to ISO 1600 that way, or ISO 125 there. Then when you've chosen it, you can press this one and move along and choose something else. That is daylight white balance there. And if you don't want daylight, that's cloudy. Look, that's shade. That's tungsten light. You can change the menus by turning the little wheel. Then when you've done that, you can go along, you can choose other menu, vivid colour, or you can have it on natural colour by choosing what you want here. That's quite a good thing on the E-500, which the E-1 doesn't have. I found that's very useful. I had it on scene mode, so that's why it doesn't do a lot of things. Again, I had to read the instruction book online. There was no instruction book, but at least this camera was free. Now this is the Olympus zoom digital lens that came with it. It's a 14 to 45 millimeter, aperture 3.5, and as you zoom it out it changes to 5.6. So that's the equivalent of a doubling up, 28 to 90 on a 35mm film camera. Now this super duper lens is with a massive lens hood. That came with it as well, and the old gent gave me that. That is 40 to 150. So in 35mm film terms, that is 80 to 300mm focal length. You double it for 4/3 digital, and I've used that extensively. There was no lens hood with the shorter zoom, but I found one of the last remaining Jessop's shops which hadn't gone broke. I found it in Reading, and I treated myself to a rubber lens hood for the shorter zoom. Now when you take pictures with this E-500, you've got a choice of two. Oh, it says card cover open, a little warning on the back. It tells you off here if you open it up and switched on. I'll switch it off for a minute in case anything goes bang. Right. We've got a choice of two memory cards. We've got a CF card here. There you are, like that one. And we've got an XD card, which is sort of hidden in the depths of it here. See if we can get that out. Oh, here we are. This is the little XD card. And I've got loads of those now, little XD cards, but they're all discontinued. But they were invented by Olympus, and Fuji use them as well, but they're all discontinued. This one says Fujifilm XD card, 256 megabyte, that one is. Put it in the right way round. So you've got a choice of two. Whereas with the E1, the professional one, you've only got one memory card. Let's switch it off. You have to undo the back by undoing that. First of all, I couldn't fathom out how to get the card out, and then there's a little switch here, and it pops up. Then you have to unfold a little lock thing, then press it down, and out comes, if you're lucky, the CF card that came with it. It's a 4 GB memory card, CF. So there's no XD card with that. You've only got a CF card. So how do I get my photos? I'm going to get it out again now. Out of this onto a computer. Well, I use a card reader. My daughter won this. It was a free card reader. She won it on a forum. You put that in there the right way up, very gently, because these little pins for CF cards are so delicate. Very gently put it in, and stick this USB into your computer, and if you're lucky the computer finds it and you can download your pictures. Now I haven't got a card reader for the XD card from the E-500, so what I have to do, plug the whole camera in. This is the lead for plugging the whole camera into your computer. There's a bit here which goes in the little door. They both got these little doors on the side, and you can plug things in. There we are. That's the little door on the E-500. And you've got to be very careful to look which way round the shape of the plug goes, because the pins are very delicate. So that's the correct way round. And then the other end goes into your computer, and you switch it on, And at the back, a little box comes up on the back and it says storage. I mean, you're going to store it in the computer, so you press OK, or you can set it up in the menu to do it automatically, and it will download your pictures into your computer where you want them. Now, I make a special folder in pictures called E-500 and another one for E-1. And I've got all other cameras there with special folders, and they all go in, so I know where they're all going. Now there's a charger which came with the E-500. There's a battery in there. It's a BL1 lithium battery, but I didn't have a charger with the E1, so I thought, what am I going to do? So I went online and I asked some questions on Flickr, and some guy came back immediately and he says, yes, you can use the battery charger from the E-500 and it will work. So I was very careful plugging it in. It didn't go bang and blow it up, but it didn't go bang, so I managed to charge up my batteries for the E1. Then what other one we got here? Oh, there's another lead which came with the E-500. This is the one you plug in to another little socket on the side, and you can plug that in and show pictures on a TV screen or onto your computer. So there's lots of leads that come with it, and as I say, I have done some good pictures which are all on my Flickr photo stream. So which one do I prefer? Well, the easier one I find, which works all the time, is the E-500. And the other thing is, because I can't set a manual shutter speed on the E1 because there's a fault with it. I can't use the flash because I don't know what the shutter speed is going to give me. If I set it to manual, I don't know what shutter speed comes up. And I find I've done some experiments, because it's slightly faulty, at least it was free, the flash doesn't work properly. But with the E-500 you have a built-in flash. We have to press something to get it up, I think. Let's see. Oh yes, there we are. The one marked up. It's always good to look at the instructions before you break anything. Press the one marked up and see what happens. Up, there we are. Up comes a built-in flash. Now the E1 doesn't have a built-in flash because it was designed for professionals when they use a huge, hopefully an Olympus flash on the top, which does things, and it will do through the lens flash metering and everything. This one does through the lens flash metering all right. It balances daylight and ambient light well. I've done some nice fill-in flash with that. The other feature is on the back, go into the menu on the back, you can find a little flash symbol, and you can have it turned down a little bit for fill-in flash, so the flash doesn't overpower your subject. You just want it slightly to illuminate the shadows. And I've got this set to minus 0.3 of a stop. A slightly lower power on this built-in flash. I have used it with a sun pack flash on the top as well for when I wanted more power. So there's loads of stuff, but I don't want to go through 270 pages of the instruction book because it would be too boring for you. So anyway, oh, there's one other thing before I go. With the E-500, there's a little button here on the back, and you can set that up in the menu to mark test. So what you do, when you take a picture, you press your thumb on this little button there, take a picture. Yeah, I've taken a picture, and it comes up and it says the word test in the top in red. It says the word test. So I've just taken a picture of our room here. Now that isn't gone onto the memory card. That's the same feature as I've got on my Pentax K10D. You can take test picture which doesn't go on the memory card. So when you looked at it and see it's all right, you press OK and it vanishes, and you've not used up anything on your memory card. That's a good feature which the E1 doesn't have. So let's hope I've given you a little insight into these two 4/3 digital cameras that I was very lucky. I'll put my glasses back on so I can see you all. Oh, that's better. I can see you all now watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this little diatribe on my free Olympus 4/3 digital cameras, and hope to see you again if I can think of something else to put on my YouTube, because I've run out of ideas. Bye bye folks.